When Western students began learning Wing Chun in the 1980s, they were coming from a very different cultural background. Chinese traditions, martial arts was taught with respect, patience, and often in a family-style, closed-door setting. While students learn slowly, absorbing not just techniques, but also philosophy, etiquette, and the way of life, and how to behave one another, how to behave yourself, you, and your teacher, and your family. But Western mindset, many Westerners came with a pragmatic results, focused attitude. They value speed, strength, and measurable outcomes. They often wanted to test or prove the art rather than preserve it exactly. So that create a big difference and an interpretation. One side emphasized on tradition and transmission, the other side emphasized on application and innovation. Maybe like feeling of superiority versus adaptation. But in Wing Chun, it's not always about superiority, though sometimes egos play a role. I find that some Western practitioners may subconsciously feel that they must own or modernize the art to make it valid in their cultural world, rather than simply preserve it. Others sincerely believe they are improving Wing Chun by making it fit in a Western combat sport or even the self-defense context. A few do fall into the trap of ego, rebranding, renaming, or claiming to know better than even the Chinese master. That can look like cultural appropriation. So there is a problem in the language and communication gap between the Western students and the Chinese master. The translation, because one doesn't speak English and understand English, the other one doesn't speak Chinese and understand the culture of Chinese language. So everyone is lost in transaction. So most Chinese masters in the 80s and the 90s, especially in Hong Kong, taught in Cantonese or even, I think, a little bit of Mandarin, but mostly in Cantonese, with layered meanings with cultural differences. Therefore, Western students sometimes misinterpret concepts like softness, key, centerline, and re-explain them in their own words, which will over time become a completely different system. So, a legacy versus innovation. There is a natural tension. Chinese masters usually want to protect the lineage, ensuring the art is passed down faithfully and correctly. And I think the Western students often feel the need to test, adapt, and repackage it. Like for the new audience in MMA, fitness, in movie, which is great if they, if it manage to help people. But to me, it's open. But I think they should understand some culture of the Wing Chun master. This is why Wing Chun today has so many branches, sometimes even conflicting with one another. Well, let me answer your question directly. It's not always superiority, but sometimes a mix of different cultural value. So most Western students often have a desire to adapt for their own way. There's a misunderstanding due to language and teaching styles. And yes, in some cases, ego or the urge to claim that ownership, that they are the one who improve Wing Chun. And there is a problem at the moment. In other words, in order to move forward, one would need to reinvent, innovate, and improve. But I believe that the roots of Wing Chun, the forms, the techniques, the breathing exercises have to be preserved. It's like learning English, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. until Z. They cannot be changed. And then you put them in words.